well. Nice to see you, lovers. Let's wait for a few of you gorgeous souls popping in. We're going to be chatting today about all stuff that's been going this week. Bournemouth Beach yesterday was a wipeout. There was so many people down there. Fantastic. I should imagine there's a few ladies this morning with burnt tits. I imagine there is. I imagine the old factor 12 has been whopped about, and that old after sun is flying about. There's no tomorrow. Lovely to see you all, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just going to share this platform out a little bit, and then we can crack on. If anyone wants to pop into the Google Hangout and come on the chat this morning, we'll share that link with yous. Let's just turn that down. Don't want to hear me. So I'm going to share out the Google Hangout link. If anyone wants to pop into Google Hangout and have a chat this Friday, this sunny day, please say so. Oh, hang on. Let's just bear with me. Got some technical itches. Yeah. That's how do I share it? No, hang on. I need to share the link. Oh, why can't I? Where's the link for it? Share link. Here we go. Copy. Right. So I'll come back in there and I'll be able to share this. Afternoon, boyo. Can't stop long. I've got to get the twins. Have you, sweet? Oh, and that lovely. Hope they're all right. Hope your twins are all cushy. Here we go. Anyone wants to pop into the Google Hangout? Let's have a chat. We're seeing all this stuff going in this country. Brixton the other night. Massive riots in Brixton. But yet the media only want to demonise people that have gone out to the beach. I would say that the violence and the mayhem going on with the BLM stuff is far worse than COVID juice. Do you not? Rebecca Buffton, she got turned away from Ashford thingy the other day because they wouldn't take cash. The Nazis are here, people. We've got the fourth column. Let me tell you, the fourth column are here. Make no mistakes about that. And the Bank of England, what are they playing at? You can't refuse cash. It's the law. It's their law. It's not my law. It's their law. They want to swindle me into this system. That's their law. These outlets can't refuse cash. Not allowed to. So, yeah. But the people going down to Bournemouth on the beaches yesterday, ram-packed. The hottest day of the year yesterday, ladies and gentlemen. Let me tell you, it was so hot. Woo! We were cooking on gas down here, let me tell you. So Bournemouth Beach was packed, and the media have gone berserk, demonising the people for daring to go to the beach. But they're not mentioned nothing about the Brixton riots the other night with the BLM movement. Nothing at all. So the media are supposed to be impartial, yeah? Now, look, this BLM, whatever it is, Antifa, they're just names because all these people that go on these riots and cause these mayhem, they're just fucking idiots. They're just retarded idiots. They've got no self-worth, no self-esteem, no respect for anything or anybody. Nothing at all. The sun is really good for your health and immune system. Yeah, man. Yeah, you best believe it. Make sure you've got nice deodorants on today. Lovely people. Spread it around. Spread the love. Yeah, got to be done. Stuart James, hello, gorgeous. Lovely to see you. Jacqueline Jones. So, look, it's the weekend. We're coming up to the weekend. What are we going to see in London this weekend in the heat? Are we going to see all these animals and barbarians turning out and start smashing coppers up and coppers' cars? Are we going to see more of this descendancy? And the more that we allow, the worse it's going to get. And maybe the police are playing this. They're playing this card. I think the police, they've all been ordered with new knee pads. They've all got new knee pads. Their chief inspectors, chief constables have been out and bought up all the knee pads locally so they don't hurt their knees when they take one. I never thought I'd get to witness scenes like this in this country. I never really did. But then again, I never thought I'd get to witness scenes where the police have just turned into a private militia force. I never thought I'd see that either. So You know, the scales are equaled. Problem, reaction, solution. Yeah. So maybe the police taking the knee and all this incitement to violence could be, well, the police can't deal with it no more. Sad Dick can't. He can't deal with it no more. What a fucking knob jockey that man is. It seems to me Sadiq Khan's supporting this BLM movement and not doing nothing about all this carnage. So when it gets out of the police's hands, guess what? The military are going to come in. So, yeah, I think the system's lost the plot, really, to be honest with you. Miss Penguin, oi, Savaloy. Anyone wants to pop in and join me on the chat today via the WhatsApp? Let's just move this over into there. Sorry about that. Move this over you don't want to hear me. Okay, Jesus. So if anyone wants to pop into Google Hangouts, you can do. We can get that show on the road. I've shared the link in the chat box. I've got quite a few people in that group now as well on the group chat on the Google Hangouts, and it's pretty decent. I have a sneaky feeling the police want us to write so they can bring in the UN. We're seeing it, aren't we? We're working all this mess out. It's like being a bit of a statistician, isn't it? I feel like I'm a bit of a statistician nowadays, planning the system's next move. The minute I see them police take the knee, I'm thinking, oh, there's an agenda behind this. There's something going on here, and we should be very mindful of what is. That's better. What is? That's better. It's got a mind of its own. This thing, let me tell you. Yeah. So they will bring in more guns. Do you know what? I've got to be honest with you. If people want to go out and slit people's throats, burn buildings, burn cars, bash up coppers, if they got shot dead, I'm not going to lose no sleep over that. No, because you shouldn't want to feel like that in the first place, right? Now, I've had the system lean on me over the years, caused me mayhem. The Inland Revenue Building, I don't deal with them no more. But the way they treated me years ago was just disgraceful. It was fucking barbaric. But I never, ever lowered myself to the point, well, actually, I want to go and smash their fucking buildings up. Never have done. People forget baby flying Trump. Yes, the baby flying Trump that cost £30,000. Can you believe that? And it was pathetic, wasn't it? It was absolutely pathetic. That baby flying Trump was absolutely pathetic. But Sadiq Khan was behind all that. And we're all being played, guys. But we have to figure it out. So this time of year, they got no chance of keeping everybody down and keeping them indoors. The trains going down to Bournemouth yesterday was a mass exodus. Mass exodus, let me tell you. So, yeah, my mate Lucy's had a bat in her house last night. Blimey, she's in my village. She's got a bat. She's got a bat in the house. So Kevin the Fruit Bat's popped in. I'm just popping down Facebook and seeing what fuckery we've got going on here today. There's fights going on here. Disgusting Crime Watch UK. There's a couple of ladies fighting in a park somewhere. It looks like, one of them's out cold. Class. Don't we live in a classy country now, don't we? I'll never forget years ago in Chatham, the Medway Town. I lived in Chatham for a few years, and I'm not knocking it because I spent probably a good 10 years living in Chatham and surrounding areas. But there was this funny video years ago of these two women were having a bit of a punch up in Chatham High Street. Have some of that, Queensbury rules and all that, darling. And one of them had a baby, and she said to someone, "Here, hold me baby." So she got someone to hold a baby while she went in her right old duster. What is up with these fucktards? Fighting, stamping on people's heads. This woman here, she's just stamped on another woman's head. Looks like she's broke her neck. She's out cold. She could probably be dead because she's just not fucking moving at all, this kid. I think she's just killed. Is she killed her? Well, she's out cold anyway. Absolutely disgusting. So, and it looks like it's down near that Spinnaker Tower. Where's this from? I don't know. But look, this is why people scare me so much out there now, because they're fucking idiots. Back code for mother-in-law. No, Jesus Jones, but I know where you're going with that one, Treacle. I do get you. I'm feeling it. Thanos from Melbourne, Australia. The government, health officials, and police are lying through their teeth. They are. They just want to lock us all down there, don't they? They keep us in lockdown. I've changed my profile picture this morning on Facebook as well, people. Let me have a look at what my Facebook profile says. View profile cover. My Facebook profile says, good slave code. Stay at home when told. Q where instructed. Wear a face mask when ordered. Go out only when permitted. Socialise only when allowed. Clap and kneel on command. Desire to be tracked 24/7. Spy and snitch on non-slaves. Give your vote every election. Be subservient to authority. Obey without questioning. There's a guy this week, a guy who's been out in his motor with a face mask on, has breathed in so much of his own carbon dioxide through this mask that he can't expel, that he's passed out at the steering wheel of his car and T-boned a tree. Now, I hope he's all right. I hope the family all right, and there's no major problems gone on there. But that is the danger of over wearing a mask. All right. If you get up in the morning and you put one of these Tampaxes, baby nappies on your face, and you wear that all day, guess what? Go and get a blood test kit. Check your blood gas levels. I can guarantee you that your carbon dioxide levels in your blood are going to be off the freaking charts. Okay. We've got a patriot this week. I'm just going to give him a big shout out. He lives in London. He's self-employed. He's a good-looking geezer, I know. His name's Danny Smith, Danny Martin Smith. There was a homeless woman the other day. Oh my God, this upset me so much. Glad caring guy named Danny Smith come to help an old lady. She was homeless. And he was calling her. I don't really share these videos because not after likes, but this was a racist attack on an homeless lady, calling her so-and-so, C-U-N-T, spitting on her. The racist bully didn't like me getting involved, start protecting each other against these scum that do this. Be safe, stick together, black or white. Now that's fantastic advice. This poor homeless woman sat in a park. He was spitting on her and doing all sorts of other things. I don't know what all this has become. And we're seeing a lot of people, good solid stock people in the black community, whatever community you want to call it, calling out this BLM as completely racist. And they themselves are apologising for their behaviour. Now look, if I was to see a load of just people that live around me acting in that way, I'd be calling them out. I'd be apologising for their behaviour as well, because there's something about being decent. You know, if you want a decent world and you want a utopia, then we need to fix this up, right? Because where we're going is rocky road, very rocky road. So we're going to see what happens this weekend. The heat's going to be out, so tempers are going to be flaring. Okay, and so yeah, this is what we've got to do. We've got to stick together, because if we don't, we're in trouble, right? Got a bloody sign: COVID-19 2 meters apart on a lamppost. Mind program. Cut them down. Just look, because what we allow, we're gonna become. No, actually, interestingly enough, I've just done a job this morning for a guy that works in the NHS. He's a director. He does a lot with organ transplants and donations and blood and all this and that goes on. And he said, Dave, he said, I can tell you categorically that this COVID-19, the people that catch it, he said, if you don't die from it, he said, your lungs are wrecked. He said, it's like you'd have smoked 100 fags a day. And I said, God's honest truth. He went, yeah. He said, I have seen people pass away from this. He said, and I have seen people that have caught this. He said, now I don't believe it's a natural thing. He said, I think it is a man-made thing. He said, so we do have to be cautious. So and that's from an NHS bod. So, you know, the question for me is, I've never I've never suggested that this thing isn't happening. What I've questioned is the fact that does it warrant the amount of loss of all of our freedoms and liberties for something that's not even affecting 1% of the population? And that is what I question. Hang on, I've just got to shut my door because my missus has come home in the horse lorry and my dog will be leaping out the door and running under the horse box, and we don't want that. So loss of freedoms, loss of liberty for this COVID-19, but it is happening. Let me make no mistakes about that. He's just told me. He said one of his friends was a super fit runner, very petite woman, copped it. She didn't die, he said, but she sounds like she's on 100 fags a day at the moment. He said, and her lungs are wrecked at the moment. So we've got to be very careful. Dog been watching the horses. No, my dog's just been laid here on my floor because it's cool in this office right now. And my missus has been out doing horse stuff this morning in the horse box, and she's just come back now. So, we'll nip off and have a bit of lunch with her in a minute. So we've got to just keep our eyes on the game right now, people. We really have. Doncaster Council are putting signs on the floor, 2 meters, which is 6 foot. It's not actually 6 foot. There is a slight difference. And keep your distance. Now, James, this guy, the small, where's she going with that lorry? He said this morning that all this stuff's going on, and he said most of this is European law. I said, but we've left Europe. He said, well, kind of. I went, no, we have. England's not in the European Union no more. The minute that everyone in this country voted to leave the European and bring England back to England again, we left the European Union. Okay, so I hope you understand that we're not in the EU no more, and the EU law should have no say-so over our soil. We should use our pounds and shillings again, pounds and ounces. I've got a load of old weight measures in pounds and ounces. It's like they've come in and wanted to decimate our way of life, yeah? When I look back now, having had the chance to have lived the life and remember the joining of the EU very vaguely and what's happened to this country since, because basically when I was in 1972, I would have been 5 years old and I'm now 53. So that's 47 years of EU, or 45, 47 years of EU. Now, I can remember as a kid how the families were, our people were, to what we're at now. And what the EU has done is devastated this country. All right. Now, I love European people. I love going to Spain and Portugal and golfing and drinking and eating all that fine food. Trust me, I proper love it. But I don't want their laws and their systems on this soil. And this is what we've all voted to do away with. Now, to me, Boris Johnson has got the backbone of a jellyfish. And none of these puppet politicians are prepared to stand up to the beast called the EU. But the thing is that the British people mandated the politicians to do exactly that. They mandated through their vote, right, that the politicians had to get out and just leave this EU. We should not be funding the EU no more. We should be trading with the EU. If we want our salamis, our BMWs and all that stuff, we should be. And to be fair, there's so much stuff that comes into this country on a daily basis that has got nothing whatsoever to do with the EU. But having lived my life and currently sit here at being 53 in a few months' time, I can see the decimation and the change that the European Union has brought on this soil. Now, I personally don't believe they're going away. I think that whatever your politicians and so-called leaders that have all got everyone on a leash put out there is just it's just not right. They're not doing what you want. They're not doing your will. The British people, mandated these people to get out of the EU and to have no more. Credit card of a monster. Destroyer of our industrialisation. Yeah, we don't, if I was Prime Minister at the time of this country, and this country is great, let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, and you can't wonder why Buckingham Palace has been boarded up. Maybe that's got something to do with the EU. BMW don't want. I've got an old BMW Cabriolet in my garage. I like my old Beamers. I like the way the engine sounds. I don't have a problem with Europe. I don't have a problem with their way of life, but it's not our way. It's not the English way. Now we've done things different for thousands of years. Why the fuck did we join this thing? And when we joined the EU, it was only as to trade. It was the EEC. It was only for a trading block. It wasn't to do with laws and regulations, and you can't, and so what the EU's done is it stripped us of our pride. Now, if I was Prime Minister of this country and the people said, right, we need to leave the European Union, what would I have done straight away to implement a change so that we could be a self-sufficient nation? The first thing I would have done is put the farmers back into operation. I would have put the fisheries back into operation. I would have put the pride back into the farmers and said, right, get out and grow as much as you can, because if we're going to sustain as a nation, that's what we need to do. I would have scientists and experts getting involved in hemp, the plant hemp, and creating fuel and creating hydrogen engines. We can create hydrogen very cheaply. We could have hydrogen cell cars. We could be putting distilled water into them. We could be running around for nothing. Plus, the planet would be having a hard on over it because there's no products of combustion. I would have put the pride back into this country right now. When we look back to the Third Reich, whatever it was, one thing's for sure, that before the break of war, Adolf Hitler had put the pride back into that country like you've got no tomorrow. They were having uber times. Their streets were clean. There was no violence. They was all out having a nice time, drinking good beer, having good food, dancing outside. Their nightlife was amazing. And then the Second World War come along. And I think that the Allies have got a lot to do with the fact that they insisted on a war. Because Adolf Hitler turned around and said, look, I want to avoid war. He said, if you want me to disarm my nation, because we're a very proud people, then you all disarm and then we'll all live that kind of a lifetime. And the Allies said, no. I think Adolf issued a few declarations. He said that when he died, or when the war was over, he said, one day the world will see what I was doing. And I know, whether it's disrespectful to say that or not, I don't know, because history's history and the victors always get to write the history. I'm sure Adolf would have portrayed England and the Allies, if he'd have won the war, as monsters, as we did the German people. But the German people, in fact, are very similar to us. They're a Judeo-Christian people. They really are. They believe in God. And I can never understand why we went to war with them, because we are so similar in our outlooks, in the way of life, in our values. So that's what I would have done if I was a prime minister. The farmers would have been out knocking out cheap food, loads of food. There would have been a glut of food, loads of food. No one would have gone hungry. Now, there's a town in this country somewhere, I'm not too sure where it is, but what they decided to do quite a few years ago was every small available dirt, like bus shelters, wherever, they decided that their group of people in that community would spend 1 hour a week going out and tending and keeping all these things good. Now, what happens is, in this particular area in this country, you come home of a night, you get off a bus, you grab out of the ground whatever food that you need that you want to go home and cook. I mean, that's just unbelievable. And that's a place in this country, and it's gone berserk. Their people are growing food, and they get off their bus, get off their train, they go, I'm going to go and get some spuds or some carrots. Can you imagine how great that is for your body? Do you know how bad pizzas and big fat burgers and Coca-Cola is? It reduces your lifespan like you've got no tomorrow. That's why I just drink plenty of water and a bit of juice. and eat good, healthy, clean food and work out, because we've got to do this. But I would make sure that we put the backbone back into this country, and that we put morals first. And Parliament only dealt with moralistic issues. They didn't deal with money. And I would make the banking sector be the ones that issued proper sovereign money that didn't hold the people to account, right? And now, this is why we have what we have in this country, this Hunger Games situation where some people have got plenty and others haven't. Now, I'm someone that's got plenty, all right? And I'm not proud of that, to be fair, but it's just how my life's gone. But I hate the fact knowing that I'm sitting here while there's other people out there suffering, which is why I come in and do these sort of things, hopefully to try and empower people to find their own ways through. But why has Boris Johnson not give farmers the free rein? And the farmers have free rein, and the farmers need to grow a pair of balls. They need to stand up and say, right, we're fucking going into production. We're going to be churning out carrots, onions, spinach, parsnips. We don't care what you say with all your price embargoes and all this and that, and what we can and can't fucking sell. I mean, now the market's catching on. They're selling wonky potatoes and wonky carrots, which is fantastic, because we were throwing them away. Admittedly, they're probably going the food chain for animals, but nonetheless, we wouldn't peel a carrot unless it was straight. Can you get your head around that fuckery? We wouldn't. And then we've got supermarkets selling bags of diced carrots and diced cheese and grated cheese, and you just think, have you not got a grater? Why do you need this? And look at all the packaging that goes with it. Look at all that landfill stuff. Look at all that plastic that goes in the bin, that goes into landfill. Or because people can't grate carrots or cut carrots up. Are we that fucking stupid? Are we that pathetic that we look at a carrot in a supermarket and because it's not straight, we won't buy it? What the fuck? Because I'm telling you something now, people, the carrot don't come out straight the other end. That's all I'm saying. Germans was a Christian country in symbols. We were very strong elsewhere. Absolutely. We were. We're a Christian country, apparently. And so was Germany. So I never understood why we was going to war with them. It was our political leaders that have took us all into this. Just the destruction, and the planet and the destruction is just disgraceful. Karen, it's lovely to see you, darling. I'll buy whatever. Exactly. Because if you go into a supermarket, I can't buy that because it's not straight. There's something going on in you that ain't quite fucking right. We're so like, I don't understand it. But it is what it is, ladies and gentlemen. But I can see this year there's massive changes coming. And to all the people that went down to Bournemouth yesterday, they're living their lives. Because the purpose of this life is to live, is to come in, you take your chances, because you take a chance every day. Every day you get out of bed, there's something that, you could go for a little jog, you could have a brain seizure, you could have a clot, you could have a bleed, you could be in paralysation, you could die. But you don't get up every morning and worry about that, do you? But that's the reality, and that happens to a lot of people every day, okay? People go up every morning and they go out and they do their stuff and their hearts just stop. Does that make sense? And people just drop dead. I'll give you for an example. My friend's dad, years ago, ran in Mitcham in Surrey. He was an ex-chief superintendent of the Metropolitan Police, lived round about Kingston upon Thames, round that way. He come in from his Sunday jog. My mate Alan was sat in the lounge. He heard his dad fall in the hallway because he just put his tracksuit top over their coat stand, and a big tall coat stands. And he's come out and his dad's on the floor, out cold, no pulse. So Alan's tried to give him the kiss of life like he would. This is his dad. And his dad went. Just heart attack then. But I'm sure his dad never ever worried and got in the morning and thought, fuck me, I better not go out running today. I could have a heart attack and die. He never worried about it. He never. And that's the problem, is the fear. I know that whatever's happening out there, there is something happening, and people are having issues. I know that. And there are areas where it's more concentrated than others, that's for sure. Where we live, have been virtually untouched by it. But the fear level is raising people's cortisol levels, and cortisol is caused by stress. And if you don't think when you're wearing a mask 24 hours a day, that's not putting your body into a state of stress, then you ain't wired up right, because it really is. There's nothing more intrusive than having your face covered and not being able to breathe properly. Now, I know that there's stuff out there. I know people are dying, and I know that people are having problems with their lungs and whatever this COVID is. But does it warrant the loss of life? Does the fear? I don't get up in the morning and think to myself, right, I can't go out today because I might catch COVID-19. Because if I do that, then I'm coming into fear and I'm not living my life. And the purpose of life and being here is to be free. That's the purpose of this life, ladies and gentlemen. The only purpose is to be free. And you're seeing your loss of liberties. People trying to tell people to get off the beach. You've got people from the council down there saying you can't go here, you can't go there, you can't drive on this road. Look, hang on a minute. The roads are mine. The beaches are fucking mine. They're my inheritance. Does what I'm saying make sense? These corporations have claimed to own the roads, the bridges, and everything else. But in point of fact, the roads are ours. The planet is ours because we inherit it together. Okay. It's not for a corporation to corporatize and monopolize over roads. The highways are our highways. We use them how we want to. That's our God-given right. Whether we go on motorbike, car, skateboard, horse, bike, tractor, how many other ways you want to go down the road, skipping, cartwheels, they're our roads. They're our roads. They're your roads. We have private corporate government, which is no better than the fourth fifth column. The police, you've got no tax, insurance, MOT. You can't use the roads. They're my fucking roads, Mush. What do you mean I can't use my inheritance, what God gave me on this earth and I inherited? Are you trying to take my God-given rights away? When you come from that ethos, things change a bit. We should tell them you're fired. We should. We should tell government, you're fired. We should do. Karen Campbell, it's lovely to see you, Karen. Life is for living, even though I am melting right now. It is a warm one. It is a warm one. Yesterday just took my breath away, man. But I haven't been on here for a few days, so I thought I'd pop in and see you lovely people. We're up to 33 minutes now, and time flies. But it's the idiots that I'm bothered about with all this destruction and mayhem and carnage. I don't know where this ends unless we do something about it. Unless the people that work for us, our public servants, if I ever went to become a public servant and to serve the people of my country, I could never harm a soul. I would absolutely have to go out of my way to try and protect a soul. Okay, I couldn't touch a soul unless they was going to harm life. You know what I mean? And at that point, it would be easy. You know, they cuff people now, hog tie them, which goes against the Geneva Convention. When they we pay road tax, so the roads are ours. We shouldn't have to pay road tax. Shouldn't have to pay road tax. That's not what government were formed for. Government were only formed, and so when governments were formed, the corporations were formed, they could only deal in intercourse with the business sector, pubs, all that stuff. They could only tax them sort of people. They were never supposed to come into our private lives. But what they did, they turned us all into corporations, okay? Because the birth certificate is the corporation. So, and that's why when you die, they say, oh, there's a corpse here, because the corpse has no oration anymore. It can't speak, because we know oration means to speak. So a corporation is a living corpse. It can speak. So we've all been turned into corporations, and we shouldn't be. We have the free ability to do in God's kingdom as we wish to do, providing we don't cause harm injury or loss to anybody else. But the corporations say, you've not glossed us with the pieces of paper that we require. Therefore, we're going to beat you with a stick, take you to a cell, and there's a chance we might kill you, because there's over 2,000 people died in my country at the hands of the police farce since the late 1980s. Not accountable, no justice. They've just died in cells, carted off like a rag piece of dirty dog meat down to the incinerator. It's disgusting. You can't get justice. You never will get justice. Justice doesn't exist in this country because they've sold out. They're only interested in money. Money, 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 money. I said the other day, what would I do with the police? I would sack all the dodgy coppers. I would bring them round so that they just serve their oath and they honour their oaths, because there's no point in swearing an oath unless you're going to mean it. And I would stop them handling money. I would bring them back to the law, the common law, and I would double their wages. I would pat them on the back and say, you are fucking going to make me proud. I'm going to give you 50 grand a year. You get out, you keep the little old dears safe, you keep the kids safe, you make sure that if you see fucking crime, you deal with it. Pride's back in you, you get out there. But no more handling money, no more fining people, no more going around their houses and bashing their doors in because they haven't paid a fine. That's got to stop, because that's slavery. Does that make sense? The judge mirrors you as beneficiary. Yeah, we're supposed to be beneficiaries of the trust. If you really want to make things go with a little bit of cheese, take a copy of your birth certificate into a court inside one of these and say to the prosecutor, are you purporting to be me this day? And I don't wish you to bring any fraud upon the court. Watch them run. They have to run, because they know at that point they're taking a hit. Take a copy of your birth certificate, roll it up inside here, and say to the prosecutor, are you purporting to be me this day? Because one man can't speak for another. And they run, because they know they're just about to copy it as trustee. Because when you go into these courts, you're going in as trustee. Yeah? You're not going in as the beneficiary. Construed trust relationship, you're going in as the beneficiary, as the trustee, because you don't know any different. Mr. David Paul Witcher? No, mate. Master. My mum and dad used to call me master up until the age of 7. I'll never forget it. And all of a sudden it fucking disappeared out the window. Well, Mister's an abbreviation of master. That's why when you go to these royal courts, and I've had many fun over the years with these royal courts, is they have masters. Master Leslie, Master Fontaine, Master this, Master that. So if you ever go up before them, oh, who are you? Well, I'm Master Leslie. Well, I'm Master David. Nice to meet you. Straight away, they're on a level pegging. And he says, what? No, you're Mister. No, is Master, is Mister an abbreviation for Master? Yeah. Okay, cool. Right. So I require you to do your job and be proper. You're not supposed to be harming me. And they harm us, and it's got to stop. So the point is this. Private corporations that operate in business should pay for the roads. They should pay for the bridges. That's what it was all set up for. Us as individual souls and people were never, ever supposed to be part of this gig. And that's what the film The Wizard of Oz was all about. Yeah. The Tin Man. Yeah. The Straw Man. Yeah. Tax identification number. The Straw Man. Yeah. Which is the legal fiction. The Lion needed courage. Dorothy needed to fucking wake up. Yeah. She just clicked her heels 3 times. The streets were paved with gold because they took us all off the gold standard in the 1930s. That film is full of masonry, and that is a film that's telling you we're shafting you all up the arse and you're going to bend over and take it. Woodrow Wilson, Edward Mandelhouse, go and do your research. You'll find it out. You shall not make for yourself a carved image, any likeness or anything that is heaven above or that is on the earth beneath or in the water under the earth. Exodus 24. You've got no idea how powerful this book is, people. That's why you've all been demonized from it, right? And I've got many of these. Many of these. The reason why you've been demonized about this and they've taken it off the curriculum and taken it out of schools is because it's your freedom, okay? It's what holds the system accountable, because they can't take that away. Amazing film to decipher, yeah. Mikey, hello, darling. How are you? Yes, how they did it is very interesting. It is. We should never have been up on the table. We're supposed to be private people living in private capacities. We're not supposed to be corporations. We're not supposed to be held accountable. We're supposed to have a banking system that's backed by gold and silver. We're not supposed to back the banking system. We're not. And this is why we've got all this stuff going on, because we've all been taken for mugs. But it stops now. We have to switch this around, and we are going to switch it around. And we are. Every single day, we're making greatness happen. We really are. We're moving on, and it's fantastic. Don't let them trigger you pulling the statues down. They shouldn't have been up in the first place. I agree. I've got no truck with seeing a slave master up on a statue. I can't wait to see the BLM fuckers get up on Nelson, climb that fucker. Go on. I mean, I'll never forget seeing John Noakes go up the years ago on the bosun's chair and stuff. I went, okay, no. So yeah, hopefully they won't get up and fucking destable Nelson. And Nelson, as my good friend Mikey Reynolds told me the other week, he's up there looking over his fleet, because the street that he's looking down, if you look up on the things, you'll see all the boats. That's the whole of his fleet, so that he can keep his eye on them. Amazing, eh? Yeah, I want to see that, Karen Campbell. Yeah, bless your heart, mate. So once we realise who we are, truthfully who we are, we can change things, I mean, quite dramatically. I've seen so many things happen over the years. I'm a bit of a warrior when it comes to that sort of stuff. You know, I know who created me, and I know I've got to bow to, and it certainly ain't anyone in fucking government. But I will respect God's law whilst I'm living in God's kingdom. For sure I will. And it is the law. And we need to just make sure that the Mao, so the Mao, when Nelson's up there with his hand on his thingy, looking out, whatever he's doing, he's looking down the Mao, and he's looking down all of, on the thing, there's every one of his ships that took part in that battle years ago. Yeah, I didn't know that until my mate Mikey. He's a bit of a dude. He knows his onions. And a fine gentleman as well he is too, sir. Yes. So yeah, that's where we're at. Where all this stuff's going to end, I don't know, with all these statues and this violence and it's just, they're idiots. I don't care what colour they are. They're fucking idiots, ladies and gentlemen. Where is the benefit in destroying people, destroying lives, and destroying buildings? In America, which is the role model of what's going to happen here, and if you haven't been paying attention to what's been going on in America the last month and a bit since George Floyd was killed by them Free Amigo coppers, which has got a lot of stuff around it. You can go and research the George Floyd incident for yourself. They're now shooting each other on the streets. They've completely lost law and order, and it's a really fucking dangerous place to be, and it will come here. But I question the motives behind it, because we've seen people of colour, and, well, we're all people of colour, been killed and murdered before, but never the level of this violence and destruction. But how pathetic. All them people turned out and went rampaging, looting and stuff like that. And there were agent provocateurs in there that started all that off. They got coppers with earpieces in, with hammers and backpacks and hats on to sort of conspicuate themselves and not look too familiar. They started a lot of that off, and then all the people gone, yeah, fuck it, we're going looting, going rioting. Well, now the place is a shithole, and they've just lost the plot. But if they'd have all organised and said, no, we're not descending into this chaos. One of our brothers has died. What we're going to do, in mass, we're going to go and take over the fucking local police station. We're going to kick all the fucking retards out that have done all this. That would have been the decent thing to do. And we're going to make sure that we don't let them back in. Now, a few years ago, there was a kid killed in this country somewhere. I can't think what his name was, but down Devon, Cornwall way somewhere, 600 to 800 people descended on a police station when we chanted outside, who killed whatever, who killed whoever, and they're all chanting, the police killed so-and-so. Now, I got quite excited at that point because I thought they've gone to the right place of this tyranny. They have gone to the heart of the beast. But rather than just stand outside, peaceably take it over, because your public buildings should be your public buildings. Does that make sense? You should be able to go and walk into a police station whenever you like and say, right, I've come to inspect my property today. Let's have a look round. You're keeping it all in thingy? Because don't forget, this is all paid for by yous and your energies, okay? All council offices are your offices. They're all in trust for you, the people. But they've been abused. These private corporations now, which is the fifth column, the fourth column, have set up shore on this soil. They claim to own all these buildings, okay? And they're the ones that are making you lot have it. Yeah? They're the ones that have taken all of your freedoms and liberties away from you. And we've got to sort this out. Here's a link of the attack on England. This man was really good. Loads of vids on YouTube. Yeah, so Stuart's just shared the link up. It was a really good, peaceful demonstration. But I prayed that day that they would actually go into that police building and peaceably just go and sit the fuck down, get their sandwiches out, and all the coppers are going to go, fuck me, there's 800 people in here, and just say, right, lads and lasses, we're here today. We're having a sandwich. Would you like a sandwich? I've got cucumber and ham, a little bit of mayo in there. Right, we're here today. We're letting you all know that we're not happy with what you're doing. And unless you change your ways, we're going to come back again. And then we're actually going to physically kick you all out. And then you won't be coming in forever and ever and ever. Amen. And I think maybe that's what we're going to have to all stand up and do one point in this country. I can see it now. If this carries on and this dissension of violence and depravity by the idiots continues, it's going to come down to good men and fucking women to stand up and fucking sort this shit out, because the system's not sorting it all out. The system's part of the problem. How do I get out of the system? Luke, there's quite a few ways, but first is know yourself, understand yourself, and you can do a few things with ecclesiastical deed polls and evidence of life. Just go and serve them on your courts and watch the magic happen. Because the SESKV Act, which we'll get into, I'll explain it actually before I disappear. We've got the next 10 minutes, right? So if you want to bear in and tune in, we can go through the SESKV Trust. We might as well. So let me just type in 1666 Act. If you want to do this with me, have a little bit of interaction here today, that would be blinding. So type in 1666 Act. Okay, so you'll type in 1666 Act. And then the first thing that will come up is Sestui QV, which is pronounced Sedeke. Now, Sestui QV stands for He Who Lives in French, because don't forget, all of the legislation that they pass through government is spoken in French. They say yes or no in French, okay? Everyone watching you has nothing to fear. We all know, yeah, exactly right, brother, yeah, as the Bible says. Amen to that. So if you tap into the SESKV, the He Who Lives legislation.gov.uk, it talks about an act of redress of inconveniences by want of proof of the deceases of persons beyond the sea or absenting themselves upon whose life estates do depend. So let's just look in at that. This is a redress for inconveniences by want of proof. So you need to prove that you're alive, which is the evidence of life. And it says that you've been declared dead, lost at sea, and you've absented yourself. You're not living here because you've not let the system know that you're alive, okay? Whereas devised lords of manors and all others have granted estates by lease for more or more life or lives, or else of years determinable upon one or more lives or lives, and it have happened that such person or persons whose life or lives such estates have been granted have been beyond the sea or absented themselves for many years, that the lesser or revisioner cannot find out whether such person be alive or dead. I hope you're reading this with me. Whereas such lessers or revisioners have been held out of possession of their tenements, right? This is powerful stuff, people. We're getting into some right old nuts and bolts here. So you've been held out of possession of your tenements for many years after all their lives upon which such estates depends are dead in regards to the lessers and revisioners when they were bought. Actions for the recovery of their tenements have been put upon it and proved to their death of their tenements when it is almost impossible for them to discover the same, for remedies of which mischief so frequently happening to such lessers or revisioners. So it says here, SKV remains beyond the sea for 7 years together with no proof of life, judge in action to direct a verdict as through SKV were dead. So you're given 7 fucking years to claim back your estate. Your parents who registered you had 7 years grace, because 7 years is a very powerful number. It's a biblical number, because the Bible says you can only chase a brother or a sister for a debt for 6 years, and that includes the full 6 years, which takes you up to the day of the beginning of the 7th year. After that, all debts must be forgiven. That's why in the legislative system they can only chase a debt for 7 years, but they're acting outside that now. So they're statutory barred at 6 years, full 6 year term. Okay. So let's say, for instance, you had a car on finance and you managed to hide it up in the barn somewhere and you left it there for 10 years and you never paid a penny farthing for it. After the 6 years, it has to be forgiven. Okay. So then that becomes yours. Yeah. It's the same 6 and 7 years, up to the 7 years, the day of the 7 years. It's the same with building planning permission. Yeah. If you don't go and beg for planning permission, then after 6 years, if it's still standing, none of that bollocks makes any rat-a-tat-tat. It just doesn't, right? So it's very, very important. So you'll remember as a kid, especially the dudes, that you was called Master Mike, Master Stuart. Yeah. Miss, I don't. What about girls? I'm not too sure what girls' titles were. Was it Miss? I don't know. I don't think it was a Miss, but boys were certainly called Masters, right? So if you don't prove that you're alive, then they judge in action only through the SKV that you were dead. So their whole system hinges on this SKV Act, right? So once you've proved that you're alive, Bob's your uncle. So it says here, if such persons or persons whose lives or lives such estates have been or shall be granted as aforesaid shall remain beyond the sea, blah, 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 blah. Now, the bit I really like is that it says, I think it's in section 7, that if you prove that you're alive, that the title has to be revested. So you become king again. You became king. You become king again, and that nobody can administer your estate once you've proved life. And it says that it has to be revested. But because we have a system that doesn't work in honour anymore, yeah, I guarantee you now, the people currently sitting in Parliament, if you went back 150 years to the people that were in there then, they would horsewhip this lot. They would horsewhip them so bad that they probably wouldn't live. So their whole system is operating on dead men's bones. And that little word parlay that Johnny Depp used, and what did he have to do to open up the treasure? He had to cut himself and drop his blood into it. Yeah, proof of life. Can't go into a dead man's chest unless you've got proof of life. So that in that film, The Pirates of the Caribbean, parlay means if you go into a court and say parlay, they go, oh, he's fucking said parlay, because it's Admiralty Maritime. It's the laws of the sea. That's why all these courts have got big, in the city of London, they've got big ships on their buildings, because the square mile of London is its own jurisdiction, its own dominion, it's its own vessel. It's a vassal state, same as Washington, D.C. and the Vatican, okay? So if we had a decent government that worked in honour, the minute that you sent them proof of life and evidence of life and an ecclesiastical deed poll, what they should send you back is all of your titles. Now, I guarantee you, all of your titles for everything you've ever done in your life is held on the 7th floor building at the HMRC building in Bootle, Liverpool. Okay, and that building itself is laid out like a ship. If you look at it from above, it looks like a ship. Okay, everything you've ever done is in that building on the 7th floor. Trust me, I'll make no bones. Everything you've ever signed for, every logbook, there'll be a copy of it because it's all kept on your master file. There's a master file for you. Right, it's called a master file for a reason, because you're supposed to be master. You're supposed to be the master of your own vessel. You're supposed to be the master of your own future. You're supposed to be the vessel of your own everything. You're not supposed to have these people administrating for you, and they're only administrating the dead. They're not can't administer the living. They can't do that. So what we need to do, it's still on me, one armband. Actually, when I go indoors, I'm going to order a new pair. Why? Because I can. This is, I hope you're getting something from this, Karen. Does this make sense to you? Are you getting this? Yeah, it's a bit different from Daddy Dragon, isn't it? Daddy Dragon knows all this, by the way. For sure he does, big time. So, there is a part of the SES-KV Act of 1666, which means he who lives, that says once proof of life, unquestionable proof of life, then the title must be revested with means, interests, and profits. Boom. Here we go. Right, let's have a quick look here. If a person... Okay, here we go. If such person or persons upon whose life or lives such estates or estates depend shall return again from beyond the sea, or shall on proof in any action be brought to the recovery of the same, be made appear to be living, or to have been living at the time of the eviction, that then and there thenceforth the tenement or lesser who was added at the same time of their executors, administrators, or assignees shall or may renter repossession have hold to enjoy the said lands or tenements in his or their former estate for and during the life or lives or so, blah, blah, blah. But so, and it's talking about here that recover for damages the full profits and the said land. So that section there, just after F2, if you've got the act up, says that once you've proved life, everything has to be revested. No one can presume your estates no more. That's us coming back into the land of the living. And it says in the Bible that they shall rise, the living shall rise from the dead. Now, it used to scare me as a kid because I thought the world would be full of zombies, but it fucking is now. All right. So, but the living rising from the dead is because when you're a Mr. or your Mrs. and you truly believe in your heart that you are that thing, then you are the walking dead. And that's the God's honest truth. And may God strike me down there if I'm telling a lie. Because I know he won't, because I'm not. I'm telling you the God's honest truth. So for us, we need to come back into the world. We need to have proof of life. So do your ecclesiastical deed polls, do your evidence of life. Go to your doctor, just get them to witness that, because the doctor brings you into this world and the doctor books you out. It's just an exercise of paperwork. And your doctor will do it for you. If they want to try and charge you, say, you in breach of trust here, doc? You know, this is one of your documents from the system and you are an officer of the court, so you're duly obliged to do this, yeah? Why are you trying to dispossess me of my property? They don't like that sort of stuff when you start talking like that. They run a mile. So once you've got that doctor stamp on there and you do your deed poll, take them to your local courts. That goes round every court in the land, and then you become the master of your own vessel again. And it's as simple as that. And if anyone needs any help in it, let me know and I will endeavour to help you. So it is now on the hour. It's for me, and it's now 1:56 p.m. on Friday. I'm going to get going. Me and the missus going to have a little, probably a little, nice little strawberry mivvy in the garden. Do you know what I mean? It's not as warm today as it was yesterday. So, but it is what it is. I will see you all very, very soon. Stay blessed, stay safe. And if you want to do more on ecclesiastical deed poll, ecclesiastical ECC. Oh God, now you put me on a ecclesiastical ECCE. My brain's gone. Ecclesiastical deed poll. I've got copies here if anyone wants them. So yeah, you just do your ecclesiastical deed polls, your evidence of life. Here's a copy of my evidence of life, which I did myself. And I got the doctor to witness it. I've got a solicitor to witness it, and I did notary public as well. And we did the same with the birth certificate. We filed the birth certificate. That was notarized, and I said that I'm the man claiming dominion over my estate. And here's something I did for a few years ago. And I put David, the man, the collateral, all accounts, including birth certificates and national insurance number, all credit files and accounts, created in the debtor's corporate name being traded on, all assets, resource, property, tangible and intangible, all goods and chattels, all leases, undisclosed and disclosed, all property, all copyrights, all physical embodiments, all energy and utility. So my local court's going to be getting a copy of that one as well. And it's not about beating these people up, people. It's about standing in this world as a man in honour, respect, virtue, all the other great things that are attributed to greatness. And away we go. So I love you all. Victoria, hello, darling. How you doing? Yeah, there is all this stuff about Graham. Look, I don't get involved in personal spoils. I like Graham. Graham's a good. Get involved in personal spoils. I like Graham. Graham's a good brother of mine. And people go through lives and do things. You know. Hope you get the black card, Dave. Yeah. Well, we're going to be going for that. And I think that if you get the black card, if you understand what I'm talking about, I think that's all done through HMRC. I think that's all done through the 7th floor building. And I'm currently in a Zoom group where we're leaning on that and trying to make it happen. And we've got some fantastic people in there doing that with us. We've got people that run corporations. They've all had enough. We've got people of the corporate world, quite high up in corporate world, that know we've got to change. And that's fantastic. He used to hide machines on cash machines to get pins. It is what it is. I don't know. But I love Graham. Graham's a good boy. He's never done me any harm. Maybe if he did me any harm, then I probably wouldn't be sat here saying that. I don't know. I don't cast aspersions. I don't know. Unless I've got verified facts in front of me about something, then it's a bit of a melanoma for me. I'll see you all very, very, very soon. I love you all. I might come back to you a little bit late today. But then again, I might not. You don't know. Take care. I'll see you all very soon. Look after yourselves.